Hello. So I'm Nick, and I've been invited to talk to you a little bit about my journey. So I'll start. So I was born at a very early age, and that's the icebreaker. No, so I was born in Keighley. I was dragged up in Keighley, and I say dragged up because I didn't have a good childhood, and that's kind of where it all started. So there was a lot of alcohol use. There was a lot of violence, domestic violence. There was a lot of abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and just general neglect. And I started to kind of really struggle with life when I was about 5. I started to feel like kind of was really unsafe, like I didn't belong anywhere. I felt like I was just floating around. My dad really didn't spend any time with me, and my mum was always kind of drinking, and so I felt that I couldn't connect with them. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere, and my siblings, I couldn't connect with my siblings, and I started to become quite isolated within myself. My dad's left, quite rightly actually. I mean, the relationship was terrible. My dad left when I was around 7 years old, and my mum spiraled down and got even worse, to the point where I actually, in fact, I'm going to stop before I go on, because I just want to give you all a trigger warning. Some of the stuff I am going to talk about is quite difficult for people to hear. So I just want to give people an opportunity, because I've already mentioned a bit of abuse and a bit of domestic violence and alcoholism. So if there's anybody going to find that difficult, or it kind of reminds them about their childhood, then or their life, then I'll give it a couple of seconds for people to comfortably leave. Because it's only when I do these kinds of talks that I realise how difficult life was. And I always thought to myself, life shouldn't be this hard as a kid. And I started to make plans to kill my mum because I was so unhappy. And I think back now and I think, well, it's stupid, right? But I didn't want to go to prison. So, when I was 9, I made plans to end my own life. But I didn't. I reached out to my dad and said, I want to go live with you. So I moved to Scotland. And I had a time of my life up there, but my dad and my stepmom, they didn't get on, and it all went pear-shaped, and I ended up coming back down to Keighley, which I hate. Oh, I was so depressed. Then I had to go to Walk Bank, and I had to go reconnect with the kids that used to bully me at middle school, and it was just a nightmare. And my mum were even worse. She were even more erratic. I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really know who I was or where I was. Things took a turn for the worse when there were some quite horrific attacks that happened on myself and one of my siblings, and we got put into foster care. And I thought, whew, it's going to all settle down now. It's going to settle down. I can get concentrating at school, etc. But there was still the alcohol use there. There was still the emotional abuse. There was no physical abuse as such. There were definitely no sexual abuse. But it was a toxic environment, and it just didn't work out. And at 17, I moved out to live by myself. Now, I'd not had any teaching of how to iron. I didn't know how to use a washing machine. Thankfully, I used a laundrette. And she not only dried my clothes, but she folded them as well. So they didn't really need much ironing anyway, so that was a godsend. But I started to lose control. And I started to think, why am I on my own at 17? I tried to carry on at school. I did my GCSEs, didn't do very well. I went on to do A-level art and GNVQ art and design. That was a special favour to me, because you couldn't just do one A-level or an A-level and GNVQ. But unfortunately, I was struggling, and I started to self-harm. Now, I'd always been drinking. My mum used to give me whiskey in my coffee when I was about 7, and I kind of got the taste for it. And my mum's side of the family, it was, if you don't drink, then you don't talk. It was, you only had a laugh when you had a drink. And historically, when you finish work, you go to the pub, and you're, oh, yeah. So my drinking increased, my self-harm increased, and it got to the point where I was contemplating suicide again. But then I met someone, and she was amazing, and she was at the same school as me, and she was amazing, and we fell in love, and I really, really adored her, I really did. Now, unbeknownst to me, before all my therapies, I didn't understand why this person loved me, and I felt my own parents didn't love me. So I started to feel really uncomfortable with this affection, with this love, and I started to push her away because I thought, well, I'm only going to break her out anyway. She's only going to leave because she's going to see the real me. So I started to act out, and I started to push her away. And she got upset, and we're going to go, and I went, don't leave me, I'll kill myself. Really, that trickled then, wasn't it? Don't leave me, I'll kill myself. But that's what it felt like. So I brought her back, and I pushed her away again. We had a baby. And that baby was born by cesarean, and I was 21. In my mind, I was about 8, because at 43 now, I'm still about 14 or 15, which my youngest daughter will testify to. But when I cradled that baby, forgive me because I may get upset again, but when I cradled that baby, I found it such a powerful miracle that two pieces of people can come together. And I love this child, and the feeling come from, I don't know where, but I would lay my life down for this child. And unfortunately, when I thought this will be the time where I sort myself out and live, have something to live for, all I could focus on was, why didn't my mum and dad have this feeling for me? And I spiraled down again, and I lost contact with her. She was 2. She's going to be 23 this year. And I lost contact. And do you know what? I've been through court. I've had all these psychological tests. I've told the truth. I've admitted everything. I've done the best that I can, and I never got anywhere. So I've never seen her. Never seen her. But I'd taken a massive overdose when I was 19, and I never really recovered from that because I should have died that night, and I didn't. And I never recovered because I thought, why am I doing this? So when the baby was born, I thought, right, this is the opportunity now. I never want to get back to that point where I've taken an overdose. But then I started to go downhill again, and I thought, well, what's the point? I can't even, my own daughter's birth is not stopping me from thinking that I am not worthy enough to be alive. So my drinking went out of control. I started to cheat. I started to self-harm even more. And quite rightly, Mum took baby and took my daughter, and they left. Brilliant. It actually turned out to be a good thing because stepdad did an amazing job with Mum to bring her up. She's been really successful as my eldest. And maybe if I was in her life, then it wouldn't have worked out. But then in 2004, I had another baby. And I was like, right, this is it. This time I know it's a real thing. I can't explain what I'm feeling. I'm lost for words. Because that's how I felt. I felt like singing from the rooftops. Lily was born. And I was like, oh. But me and Mum had split up. So I had to kind of sort my life out and things. And I thought, right, I'm definitely going to stop all the silly behaviour. And I'm going to prove to Lily that I am awesome. Like the superheroes I used to follow in Marvel comics and stuff. So me and Lily were just eking our way through life, and just, you know, I was at a friend's house sofa surfing and trying to get myself a place and a job, and Lily lived with her mum, and Mum's brilliant, and Lily was well looked after, really well looked after. But I felt that I wasn't good enough, and I couldn't get through that barrier. 2007, and I met Emma. For those of you that might not know, Emma is my fiancée, and she's the co-founder of Missing Peace Wellbeing and Support. And the same happens. I fell really deeply, madly, truly in love with her. And after about 3 years, I thought, this is going to go pear-shaped. This is going to go pear-shaped. Lily is comfortable with mum and stepdad. They're quite wealthy in my mind, and she had loads of kind of nice houses and holidays and stuff. I was drinking heavily. I was occasionally taking cocaine. I was cutting myself. I was getting into fights. I was just a mess. Emma was getting kind of frustrated, like, why are you doing this? And I thought, I don't know. So I started to push her away. And then I was missing her, and then I was pushing her away again. And I thought, oh. So I thought, this is it now. I'm gonna end my life, and I'm gonna do it properly this time. And I made a call to Lily's granddad, who I still really get on with. I said, do me a favour, look after Lily. I'm gonna have to go away for a little bit, sort my head out. And I also texted a friend, and then the police brought my door down. And very forcefully took me to Linfield Mountain Hospital. And that was 2011. Now I realised that I'd not had a breakdown, but I had a breakthrough. Because I was laid on the hospital floor, crying my eyes out, because the psychiatrist was telling me, what is going on? Well, I don't know what's going on. I'm in a psychiatric hospital. You're paid to tell me what's going on. If you're asking me what's going on, well, we're not going to move any forward. We're not going to move forward. So what else am I supposed to do? And I lay down, and I looked I was laid down on the floor. I was crying my eyes. I looked under my bed, and there was a film of dust, and somebody's gone around the bed. And I thought, they can't even clean under the bed. I mean, you just saw amused, and I burst out laughing. So I sat on the edge of my bed, and I thought, when I was a kid, I used to build Lego towers and things and houses, and always big fan of architecture. But when there was a brick there that I didn't like, I'd take it down, take that out, put a new one in. I thought, I wonder if this is my Lego tower that's just been broken down. And when the occupational therapist said, what's your favourite colour? Don't know. What's your favourite food? Don't know. What's your favourite hobby? I don't know. I lived my life for what everybody else expected of me, and for me to fit in so I was safe. I became a chameleon so nobody attacked me. So I started to rebuild. I knew that I absolutely adored Lily. And I knew that I loved Emma, and I knew that I wanted to get better. So I learned to breathe again. I learned the importance of drinking plenty of water. I learned the importance of a decent diet, exercise, just doing one thing a day. Getting out of bed and getting downstairs is a massive achievement. I never knew. Wow. I did a wellness recovery action plan in 2011. And it's a peer support based mental health course where you design a plan for you. You become the expert on you, and you know what you need to do and what you don't need to do. And that blew my mind, because going through therapy since I was 14, the mental health members of staff, the clinical members of staff, I couldn't connect with. They always used big words, and I felt stupid. I felt I had to tell them what they wanted to hear. So they were happy with whatever, and I didn't get questioned and didn't. But peer support is peer support. It's the opposite of peer pressure. And I discovered that, and I thought, I'm doing this. So I went on to volunteer with Mind in Bradford. I started doing rap courses. I went on to become a facilitator. I went on to progress, and now I'm advanced trained in Wellness Recovery Action Plan course. I'm advanced trained in intentional peer support, and in 2017 we founded Missing Peace Wellbeing and Support in Keighley, because I was on a waiting list for 18 months for a therapy, and I thought, well, what am I supposed to do in the meantime? How do I know I'm going to be alive in 18 months? How do I know if I need it in 18 months? And if I'm on the waiting list, there must be thousands of people. There was a missing piece of the puzzle, hence Missing Peace. We wanted to be them people that you could come to have a chat, instead of going to the GP, instead of, whilst you're waiting for your therapy, you have a chat, and maybe you might just get a little bit better. It's like Helen said, wish you could prescribe a cup of tea and a chat. Well, they can. Social prescribers now refer people to us. We do one-to-one support and we do group support. But ultimately, I try and get across that if I can come from a place of not feeling worthy enough of having life, and I can get to a place where I can sleep soundly at night, I've put all my cards on the table, I've accepted what I need to accept, and I'm moving forward honestly and truthfully, I believe if I can, you too can. So, hence the two can. So, I really want to put forward that please, one step in front of the other, and you will be surprised at how far you will go. Thank you.